What is going on, y'all? Welcome back to Mindful Gains. I'm Bryce. Question: do you call yourself stupid when you make mistakes? Do you have just a negative way of thinking about yourself? Do you doubt yourself when you try to do new things? Do you just feel like, I can't never do that? Well, if that's you, you're in the right place, and no judgment from me. But in this video, I want to talk about what is low self-esteem. All right, let's get right into it. Let's talk about low self-esteem. First, let's talk about what is self-esteem. And here's a definition from Google. Self-esteem is confidence in one's own worth and abilities. So now that we have a definition of self-esteem, I would ask, where is that developed from? Where does your confidence in your abilities and your worth, where does that even come from? From my understanding, my experience, it comes from your childhood. When a baby's first born, it doesn't have confidence. It doesn't have a knowing of its own worth yet. That is developed when they're at a young age, and it's developed by the environment that they grow up in. All this stuff stems from childhood. If you watch my videos, you know I'm always talking about childhood stuff and how it affects us. But yeah, so that confidence and that self-worth is developed in childhood. Say, for example, when you're younger and you make a mistake, and one of your parents says, "Why are you so stupid?" Or you might say something off the wall, or maybe not even off the wall, but you're met with like criticism. Like, why would you do that? What are you, an idiot? That type of stuff. Because you got to think, when you're a kid, your inner voice, it's developed from your parents' voice or your caregiver's voice, whoever you're around the most. That's where that inner voice is like being developed from. Like how they speak is kind of how you hear things, and that's how you start to speak to yourself. So understanding that what you heard is what developed in your mind. Like you may have been met with critical, judgmental type of talk from your parents. You know, anytime you made a mistake, they was on your ass, calling you stupid, criticizing how you went about doing something. So how do you think that's going to affect a child? Better yet, how do you think that's going to affect an adult that doesn't know he's being affected by it? Whew. So if self-esteem is the confidence in one's own abilities, think about how powerful that is. That confidence can be torn down at a very early age, all based on what that kid was exposed to. If that kid was exposed to like positive, encouraging, uplifting type of talk, I don't know the statistics on it, but they may have a more positive way of speaking to themselves. Like I got some people that I know in my life, they'll be like, "God, I'm a piece of shit." I'll be like, "Bro, why are you talking about yourself like that?" Or they'll make a mistake or something. "I'm such an idiot." I'm like, "Bro, you're not an idiot. You actually just made a mistake." I'm that guy, because I've learned how to do that. I've learned how to kind of be that encouraging voice just naturally around people who may not know how to do that. You may know some people like that too. Just automatically go to a negative way of speaking about themselves. You ever know somebody who just apologizes all the time? I'm sorry. Like they might walk past somebody in the grocery store and I'm sorry. I didn't mean to walk past you. I didn't mean to bump you. I didn't mean to reach and grab this because you may be. It's almost like, chill. Those types of people, I feel like they're used to making themselves smaller in the world based off of, from my understanding of how I live my life and what I think, they're used to making themselves small from how they grew up. They might have grew up around some parents that talked a lot of shit. I grew up around that type of stuff. I grew up with very critical caregivers, I would say, in my life. And that played into me having a very critical way of going through life. Like I always had an opinion about something. I always had something to say about something, a person, their clothes, whatever, clowning, always had something to say. It wasn't until some years in my life before I realized it was even happening, because that inner voice that is developed when we're younger, it almost becomes like background noise. It's like the loudest voice, but also the quietest voice, because we don't really notice it. But I swear, as soon as you do something or you make a mistake, you be talking to yourself, or you'll have that kind of like that critical way of thinking about yourself. And that's that inner voice. So low self-esteem is dictated from that. It's dictated from how you speak about yourself. How do you perceive yourself? Do you have a negative way of looking at yourself? Do you feel like you're not enough? Do you feel like you can never do anything or never excel? That's what I mean. I would ask myself, like, where does that come from? Get curious with yourself and be like, damn, where did these thoughts and beliefs of myself come from? Did somebody talk to me a certain way when I was little and I just kind of adopted these ideas and now I've just taken them and grown as an adult and I still have those types of thoughts and beliefs about myself? Now that takes a lot of work to be able to do that. That takes a lot of self-awareness to be able to do that. But if you struggle with that negative inner dialogue, that negative inner critic, you might have like low self-esteem. That doesn't mean that you can't work through it. That doesn't mean that it has to be like that all the time and that you can't change it, because you definitely can. It's going to take some work though. But if you're wondering how to overcome low self-esteem, make sure you check out this other video down here. All right. I'll see you there. Peace.